I don't know where you are, but it's just rain non-stop, right? Oh, hello. There's somebody else there.
That's
Hello.
Emily.
Hello, Emily.
Hello. I didn't get
Hiya.
to meet you last time.
Oh, hello. Oh, how lovely.
Okay, I'll just do a little introduction and then we'll go for it, yeah?
Yeah.
Great.
Great. We welcome back to the Only Fools and Horses podcast, Andrée Bernard. How's it going?
It's going very well, Chris. Thank you. It's great to be back.
Nervous Nerys, of course.
Yeah. It's not so smelly now.
So how you been? What you been up to?
Oh, goodness me. I've written a show. Can you believe this? I've actually written a new play with a score, music and lyrics, and it's actually going on in April at the
Brilliant.
Arcade Theatre in London. So, sorry, I'm shameless plug now.
That's okay.
23rd of April to the 4th of May, Arcola Theatre. It is called What is a Woman? How contentious can that possibly be? So that would be fun. You'll have to come. Please come along and see it.
Oh, we'd love to, wouldn't we? And it looks
Oh,
like you're in
yeah.
a recording studio or
Yeah,
something.
I am actually in, this is my home studio where I do my voiceovers and stuff like that. So actually today I've been doing my very serious narration voice in here, recording from home. And I literally finished that about 15 minutes ago. So I've got my cup of tea and a bottle of Peckham spring water.
Oh,
Lovely,
yes.
lovely.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And thought, right, I'm in here, so it's nice and warm in here actually now. So that's where I am. Where are you?
I'm in the living room.
You're in your living room, Emily.
Nothing
Lovely. Lots of
exciting,
books behind there by the looks of things. What about you, Chris? Chris
Yes.
B.
Chris B is in the Trotter flat, of course.
And the Trotter
Otherwise,
flat. Oh my goodness, yes, I can see the cookie jar.
yeah,
I
as
can
well as
see it.
I've got the curtains as well. Yeah, it's my back room really. So yeah, I've just bought a Dell's cocktail thing as well. Then,
Oh, look
Andrée.
at that. Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah, and the pump there is perfect draft, and I can do my own beers now as well with the Fools and Horses beer draft thing.
This
So
is not Scottish you a small fortune. Every time I speak to you, there's another bit of equipment or another bit of furniture. It's amazing.
it's an illness, a good illness though,
A
isn't
good
it? Yeah.
illness. It's a good illness to have. And where are
Yeah.
you, Chris W?
In the lounge, yeah.
In the lounge. Lovely.
Yeah. About your curtains, Chris. I mean, they're new as well, aren't they? Show them
They're
off.
new, yeah. They I think sorry, I was going to say Nerys then. Sorry, Andrée.
That's all right. No, you could. That's fine. I respond to Nerys, funnily enough.
Yeah. I can't differentiate between the two. Yeah, they were off. I think you'll know the fella that makes them, Neil Huckle. He makes the doors, Andrée. You've probably signed the doors, haven't you?
Yes. Oh, yes. Several of them. Yeah.
Mm.
So, sorry. So, has he got like a whole factory where he's making doors and curtains and stuff now? Is that what he's doing as a job?
I think that's his full-time job, like you say, doing the doors, the nose cones, the curtains.
That's amazing.
There's another gentleman that makes the cookie jars now as well.
Oh my goodness. See, a whole
Yeah.
industry sprung up. Now, I'm sorry, can I just ask about the curtains? Because they are delightfully hideous. And obviously,
Oh boy.
you had to have that fabric specially made, right? You can't buy. Can you buy that fabric by the meter?
I mean, I just bought them to order, but no, I don't think you can you? You're right.
Oh,
So.
wow. See, I just love the wonderful obsession to detail that goes on with all this stuff. Nothing's done half-heartedly. It's all like, no, gonna do the curtains, we'll get it all printed, it's gonna be exactly as it was. It's amazing.
I mean, for me, I'm after the next thing, you see. So when I look at the show now, I'm thinking, oh, what's that on his bar? I've not got one of them, it's the chase that's the fun about it, really.
Right.
Yeah, like
Are you
Del Boy
possessing a bit of
famously
boot then?
says.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I was just saying, are you a nightmare at a boot fair?
I can be, yeah. I do have a mooch, yeah. One of the cookie jars, actually, my mum and dad found at a charity shop, so you can pick them up. £5. That one just there.
Really?
So you can sometimes get lucky, really, with things, yeah.
Okay.
We
yeah.
talked to
I've
an
even got I don't know if
auctioneer
you remember the
last time.
episode Touch of Glass. I've got the cat there. You know the cat. How much is that doggy in the window?
Oh my goodness.
And
It's
the urns from Ashes to
extraordinary.
Ashes. Yeah. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, Chris has got a huge collection. And
Yeah.
last time we spoke to an auctioneer
Yeah.
he was selling all Only Fools and Horses stuff, or rather he was auctioning them off. And yeah, that was very good, wasn't it, Chris? A lot of different stuff he had.
Yeah, it was last of the summer wine as well, wasn't it? But there was quite the previous time he did a lot of
Steptoe and
John
Son.
Challis's items, didn't he, as well?
Wow.
I think they sold a van as well previous time, one of the real vans or something.
Because
And
how
it
many
went for about
of them are there left? The actual ones. I thought there were only 3 of the real ones left. Or have I got that wrong?
No, you could be right there. I think they met. You probably know better than me, but I think they did about 14 vans. But in the early episodes, they got thrown away, didn't they, after the series? So I would say there's about 3 or 4 in existence now. Yeah,
That's what I was told. I think it was Tony Dow actually who said to me, "I think there's only 3 left." So as the others got rid of, they've just become more and more valuable. Because obviously in the early days, no one thought any of this was going to be worth anything.
no, they would throw.
Can you imagine
like
what
you
the
said,
original set would be worth?
oh,
Be
well,
amazing, right?
yeah.
And with this
I mean, one of the
auction,
real vans went for 44,000 about 15 years ago, and I think Ricky Hatton's got one of the real ones, the boxer.
Has he really?
I think
I
so.
didn't-
Yeah.
Well,
big
he must
fan
be a-
apparently.
Oh goodness, I didn't know that. There you go. You live and
And
learn.
apparently, with this auction, he
Yeah.
has an authentic bottle of Peckham Spring that he was selling. It was last Friday. I can't remember how much it sold for, but anyway, the guy who sold it, he threw away 3 others, and so we were like, "What a plonker!"
Yeah, I think you're right. He threw him in the recycle bin. He said to his family what he'd done, and they said, "You could bet a fortune." He just luckily had one at the back of the cupboard, I think he said, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. I've just Googled there's 6 trotter vans in
6 of them
total.
are there, Emily?
Yeah.
Oh, well done. There you go.
Let's Google.
Now, I wonder if you're the problem you've got with a van though sometimes is I'd like to know what episode it was from. So at least if you watch an episode, think, oh, that's the one I own, but I don't think they're as specific as that, are they? As such.
No.
I think quite honestly, it'd be really difficult to track down which one came from where, to be honest. Funnily enough, you'll never guess who I was talking to. Only, goodness me, 2 weeks ago. Adrian Pegg. So does that mean anything to you, Emily? Adrian was the production manager on Only Fools and Horses. Right?
I spoke to him.
Yeah?
Yeah,
it
it was just me. I was like Billy No Mates on the podcast, but it was a really good podcast because he said a lot of interesting things about how they blew up the coach on the Jolly Boys outing and things like that. It was a good conversation.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's really funny how things go full circle. So, of course, Adrian was on the show. I got to know him then and other things at the BBC because I spent quite a long time there and Adrian was there. How life goes full circle. He actually married an actress and a performer, Felicity Fizz, who I had known from years ago. She was in the original cast of 42nd Street. Because did you know Adrian was a ballet dancer before he was a production manager?
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We can get onto that.
Yeah. Like full Royal Ballet School, lark, right? So, and now they also have a podcast about musicals and things.
Oh, lovely.
So it's so funny how all these years later, all these circles come back, and I just seem to be gaining more and more and more people from Only Fools and Horses in my life from when I was 22, 127 years ago. It's
amazing. Would you say that you get recognised weekly for Only Fools and Horses then, or daily? Would you say, or is it?
It's more one of those things when people realise if they're fans, the response is kind of shocking because they can quote all the lines, all the stuff. Oh my goodness, I love it. It's so yeah, quite a lot. Even I mean, goodness me, I look so different, but the fact that it's out there all the time, isn't it? So yeah, much more than I would have thought, funnily enough. And as I said, it's that thing of the fans are incredible and they seem to be never ending. It's that weird one when you get little kids, like little kids that weren't even a twinkle in anybody's eye when these episodes were being done, who are now new fans. And I love that. It's great.
And do you have that awkward moment where somebody will look at you on a bus or on the train and they're like, who is this? And they keep staring at you, but then they suddenly figure it out.
But I don't know about that so much, but I tell you, Chris, what I do get is, because obviously I've done quite a lot of television. So it's like, is it the people who know Doctor Who, or the people who know Hollyoaks, which is in 4 years, or the people who know whatever? Very often at the supermarket, someone could look at me and start chatting to me like they know me, literally like I'm a mate, and then suddenly go, oh, I don't know you, do I? It's just because I saw you on the telly, which is actually kind of nice though, because you think, well, at least they're not going, oh, don't want to speak to her. But I get a lot of people randomly talk to me, but then I'm quite a chatterbox myself, so maybe that's not a surprise. I'll talk to everybody.
Nothing wrong with that.
How did you get involved in all of this, Emily? You're very young, so what got you into all of the fandom?
Believe it or not, I am 26, so I was still quite around when the newer episodes were coming out. But my grandma loved it, and so does my dad and my mum. So I like all the old comedies, but Only Fools and Horses is my favourite. And I saw a couple of years ago that Chris Watts was doing a podcast, and I said I'll do it, and then here I am.
There you are.
Yeah,
so it's another thing where it's been passed down generationally.
Yeah.
You know, that it becomes a family thing, doesn't it?
It does.
People.
Every Christmas we'd always sit around and watch like Steptoe and Son, All the Fools and Horses, all the other old comedies.
But they're brilliant, aren't they? I mean, I don't, no
Yes.
disrespect to modern stuff, right? There's a couple of great things out there, but it's not the same as it was back then. It was a powerhouse, the BBC. It was extraordinary.
Sorry. I remember once my dad made me watch Love Thy Neighbour. I don't know if you've... Yeah. And I actually found it very funny, but you can't show that these days.
No.
But you can't have comedy like they used to.
It's not quite, I mean, I don't know, that makes me feel really old to say that, but there is some truth in it, I think. Don't you? Do you agree, Chris and Chris?
I agree. I'm stuck in a time warp, if I'm honest. People will say to me, oh, watch this show, it's really funny, and then I'll watch it and I'll be like, what a load of rubbish, most of the time. I mean, that sounds really old, doesn't it? I'm not that old, but it's a bit like that. But I did, what you were saying about the podcast and how it got started, that was actually during the lockdown. So
it was.
Yeah, so I just put that out there on Facebook. I was like, who would like to start an Only Fools and Horses podcast with me? Because obviously at the time I had a lot of spare time, or everybody did, didn't they?
Yeah.
And Emily responded and Chris responded, and that's how it all started, really. So yeah, I'm glad. It's amazing all the people we've spoken to, like yourself, and there's so many out there. Daniel Peacock, Antonio Connie, what's his name? Sorry, Carone, Antonio Carone. There's so many.
Yeah, Philip Pope.
Philip Pope.
Lovely guy.
Mike Fenton Stevens.
Michael
Stevens, yes.
Michael Stevens, Fenton Stevens, yeah.
Also,
Patrick Murray's the one we want, Andrée, now. Patrick Murray.
Right. Okay,
he's on our hit list, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Him and Sue Holderness, I think.
Okay. Let me. I'll do my best. All right. I'll and tell them to do it.
And of course to David, but we don't think that'll ever happen. But
no,
you can dream.
He is doing this Channel 5 one for Christmas, isn't he?
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that.
Which will be lovely. Just to see him back on screen, quite honestly, I think. Well, I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah, very much so. I was going to ask you about, because you've obviously done conventions since we last saw you, Andrée. How was it? Is that the first time you've seen Sir David since the show? Have you seen him in over the years?
I have actually seen him a couple of times, but I've got to be honest, I hadn't seen him for, oh my goodness, it's got to be a good 8 or 9 years. It's really difficult. But you know, COVID and lockdown, we lost 3 years in that, really, didn't we? So what, 8, 9, 10 years. So it was quite a long time since I'd seen him. And it was just, I mean, what a joy. Just so lovely to see him at one of those. That brought the house down, him being there, quite rightly. I mean, obviously all the people who turned up to the convention and paid, but I can tell you the rest of the cast, we were all like, I'm not worthy. We were all like, yay, David. It's really, really nice. Tony Dow, of course, as well.
Yes, Tony was there, wasn't he? I went to you were there on I went the Saturday one. It was last May. I forget where it was now. It was down London way, but I was speaking to Sir David's wife for quite a while. Didn't realise. I just said, "Oh, you're Sir David's agent." So no, I'm his wife. I think it was Jill, isn't it? Jill Hinchcliffe, is it?
She's lovely, isn't she?
Yeah, very down to earth. Yeah, really nice. But they always say, "Don't meet your heroes," don't they? I always say I was like a child, at a pop concert. Just not like me to be, starstruck or quiet. But, it was just unbelievable.
He's so lovely. He's so lovely, and he really kind of entered into the spirit of the whole thing as well. Very just joyous. Everybody was kind of just so happy to be there. Those things I tell you what, one of the reasons why I love doing those things as well is it's all of us actors getting back together. It's just so lovely. It's kind of like seeing each other and what's been going on and life and news and stories and kids and grandkids and all that kind of stuff. It's really nice. It's
like
really
a reunion.
Yeah, very much so.
What was you going to say, Emily?
I was going to say, I told you this. My neighbour for David Jason was Chris Hemsworth.
What?
Yeah. And he's older than me as well, believe it or not. He thought that David Jason was Chris Hemsworth.
There are some funny people out there, because I remember you saying about what was you was in a restaurant or something, and David Jason came up in a conversation, and they didn't know who it was, and then you were like, he was in this, he was in that, and
yeah,
they couldn't have watched a lot of TV.
I was working behind a bar, and someone said they don't know who David Jason was, and I was telling him what he's been in, and again, he was older than me.
That's astonishing, isn't it? Because he literally is. I mean, he's been on screen and acting as long as I can remember. Yeah. And I know that everybody in the industry looks up to him. He's one of those rare creatures where the public love him, but the industry adores him as well. I mean, he's a genius, but he's been doing it forever and the legacy is still there. It amazes me that there would be anybody who didn't know who he was, quite honestly. Okay. But there you go. You found them, Emily.
I have found two of them.
Bit unlucky.
Yes.
I know it made my day once. I was in Greece about 15 years ago. Not the musical, by the way, the country. Right. I don't do a lot of reading, but I had two books with me. I had a George Best book and a David Jason book. And the Greek fella says, "Oh, who's that?" So I said, "Oh, it's George Best, a footballer." Okay, it's 60s footballer, isn't he? And then he just looked at Sir David Jason's book and said, "Oh, that's Del Boy." And I thought, wow. So David's, more well known than someone like George Best. It's just incredible how the show's just gone global, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Worldwide. I mean, it's amazing, which is great. I mean, how much is that? Makes you wonder how many things that are being made now will still be watched with love in 30 years' time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It hasn't dated, Andrée, has it? I think you mentioned other comedies. They're still fresh. The jokes are still fresh and current, aren't they? Whereas other shows that I perhaps once loved, I look at them now and think, it's dated a bit now, but Fool's Knowledge is still fresh and still funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think so, but I think that all comes down to John Sullivan's writing just being utterly exceptional. Funny is funny. His writing is timeless. It's just a good joke is a good joke, right? He's one of the finest writers I've ever had the pleasure to work with because it was all on the page. There was nothing to do. It's just funny, right?
Yeah. And it is amazing what you just said, Chris, because it is timeless. But if you see some of the things that Del Boy sells down the market, obviously they don't exist anymore, do they? Or like those old-fashioned telephones, the brick telephones. But it doesn't matter, does it? It's still timeless. Amazing.
Did you know that when John Sullivan took the script to BBC, he got declined about a couple of times? I can't remember how many, but it did get declined a few times.
And apparently the reason for that was they said that they couldn't see an audience for it.
But look at it now.
Look at it now. It's like whoever said that must have had to eat their words.
Yeah.
And
Of course, it was lukewarm, wasn't it? When it started, I think 7 million viewers wasn't massive back in the day when there's only the 3 channels. And then I think they said there was David say it was a power cut or something at the BBC, or a strike at the BBC.
John Challis said that. Yeah, there was a strike at the BBC, and they had to put it back on the TV, different time, different day, and it found a new audience, and that's how it got more successful. Yeah,
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And there's photographs of all the comedies from that day, and Fools and Horses on the top floor of the BBC or something, stuck out the way at the time. Bit of not an embarrassment, but just one of those. Well,
I thought it was in the toilet. That's what I remember. I think the BBC bosses really didn't like it back then, like in the early days. It was sort of frowned upon, which is unbelievable, isn't it? And there you go.
It's just it's strange, isn't it? Very strange, but
and that audience will never be beaten, will it? Is it 26.3 million for that time on the hands when they found the watch? I mean,
yeah,
unbelievable. Do you know one thing I was going to ask you, Andrée? I was interested. You were saying about the van. I know it's quite an Anoraki thing to ask. The trotter van. You were saying it goes on a trailer, did you? The interior shots or something. They drag it on a trailer or something last time.
Yeah, well, when we did, because obviously all of the chase stuff and all of the driving scenes, we were on a low loader, which is effectively a trailer that's behind a car, but which is set quite low, and the cameras are on either strapped onto the side of the car or the cameras on the front. So it's being driven on the back of a lorry to do all of that.
You're in the van at this point. You're in the van, sorry.
We're both in there, and it's as though Nick's driving it, and we're on, a motorway. We're on roads, but we're actually being driven, and we're on a trailer, up on the trailer, for them to have the cameras everywhere. Except for there's the stunt stuff with the jumps, and then there were only a kind of about 3 small bits that were actually in the trailer itself, which is basically at the end of the car chase, those bits, which was a nightmare to shoot because it's a teeny tiny space. And I'm kind of like, down in the well, and Nick's there and they're trying to get a camera in, and because it was just such a small space to work in. But yeah, a lot of it was literally driving around Bristol on the back of this truck, which was, it was cool.
But a proper van, they haven't cut I was thinking if they cut the front off the van to get to film in there, but it's a proper full-on van. It
was a full-on van. So there were 2 of them that we had there, which was the stunt one that was used, and the one that we had that was on the back of this, raised up on a lorry with all of the cameras around. So
the one that picks you up, Nick picks you up in, that is the one that was on the trailer,
on the low loader.
Yeah, and the stunt one was obviously a different one from that.
Yeah, because they weren't too sure how much of it was going to survive or not from doing.
Did it survive, the other one?
I've got to be honest, I'm not. My recollection and what I heard is that they completely shot the suspension and everything. So I don't know if it was actually they were able to use it but not drive it, because they really did do a stunt jump with it.
Yeah. And the roof rack flipped up, didn't it? I remember it sort of flipped up. It stayed on, didn't it? But it flicked up.
Yeah. And my stunt double was a man in a blonde wig.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can pause frame it, can't you? Actually, I think there's a pause frame you can do, and you can see.
Well, you would, Chris, obviously. Yeah, it did. Oh, wow. It flipped. I mean, it was pretty clever. I mean, it's not the Fast and the Furious, but I mean, they did a good job on it.
Would you be around at that point when that stunt's being done? You'd be in the background, would you, watching, or not particularly? You wouldn't be there watching it. We happened to be there watching, because they did several passes of it. Just in the schedule on the shooting, when you're waiting and being made up on whatever to go on for the next scene, I did actually see some of it being shot, but it wasn't because it was hanging around. It was because we were there anyway.
Yeah, sure. And you talking about a man in a wig, it does remind me of that episode where Del and Rodney are at this pub in Soho, and Rodney's like, are they a couple of ravers? And then Del Boy's like, no, they're a couple of geezers.
That's in a very early episode, that one, isn't it? Yeah.
The second one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
second ever.
Yeah, second episode.
Wow.
Is it Go West, Young Man?
Go
Yes,
West, Young
that
Man.
one.
Yeah.
That's the
I
one.
can't
See,
remember the name.
I got it.
Well done. Yeah. But Boyce's first episode, that one, isn't it? John Challis's
Yeah.
With the
first
car,
episode.
yeah. And Nick Stringer, who we spoke to. That was about our first one, wasn't it? Or second one? Our second podcast interview.
This is
Wow.
when I sit
Nick's
in absolute awe of you guys when you can go, yeah, this episode that had this, that, the other. I'm just like, how you just. Is anyone ever going to go on Mastermind or something with a specialist?
Seriously, there was a lady. You know, we'll have to resend the clip off on the podcast. I sent one last year. She got, I don't know, about 15 of them. She got a couple wrong. I got a couple wrong, but they were different from hers, if you know what I mean. But there has somebody been on Mastermind, yeah.
Has there? Someone has actually had Only Fools as their specialist subject.
As a specialist subject, yeah.
Oh, man.
Bad pick.
But Nick, if you remember, wore the wig, didn't he? In the Jumbo Mills episode, Who Wants a Millionaire? And he was telling us, Andrée, that they let him keep the wig. They said, well, we can't use it again. You might as well keep it. He said it cost about £6,000 at the time. He said he used to go out wearing it for quite a while. Yeah.
But he got rid of it, sadly, because he was like, oh, it'd be worth a fortune now.
Well, isn't that the thing? The things that, yeah.
You were sitting down at my convention.
And the earrings. I still have my top and the earrings, a sweatshirt.
Wow.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, and the original scripts.
Brilliant.
I was going to ask that as well.
Wow. What, but both scripts or just dates or?
Yeah.
And Sickness and Wealth as well.
Sickness and Wealth, yeah.
Got both, wow.
Yeah.
And Dates is one of the best episodes, in my opinion. So it's brilliant you got that script.
You have to say that because I'm sitting there.
No, we did this once before, didn't we? We voted our best, and I chose Dates as number one. Actually, it was very hard to, it was between that and Jolly Boys, but it was sort of very hard, and I just went for Dates. But yeah,
it is brilliant, isn't it? Actually, you might be able to answer something that I've been thinking. Who was the lovely actress who played the prostitute at Waterloo Station?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I would love to interview her on the podcast because
she was hilarious, wasn't she? Because it was that thing of just having that one scene that's literally blindingly good. I've often wondered.
She appeared in Open All Hours as well. She's been in that as well. She's a bit of a cameo actress, isn't she? If you call it that, I don't know.
Very funny, very.
But it's funny when you see her in something else. Somebody will post that picture, from whatever she's in now, and they'll be like, "Charge extra for that."
Yeah,
it's funny.
Her name's Jean Warren.
They are Jean.
That's
Warren.
right, Jean Warren.
Let's send an email.
She has done, I think, a few of the. I'm not thinking conventions, but the ones that Colin. I don't know if you've been at any of the Colin Phillips conventions at all, have you, Andrée? That one or two of the guys do.
No. I'm not aware of those ones. I know there are an awful lot of them out there, and I'm not an expert by any way, shape, or form. I've actually learnt more about the show that I did from all of you guys and going to the conventions and talking to people than I ever knew at the time.
So you said about the earrings. So when you say the outfit, is that the one from Dates in the Bar? Is it? Sorry,
yes.
Or
the red top, those earrings. Yeah.
When he asks you out on the date, that episode.
Yes.
Yeah. That scene. Sorry. Oh wow. Wow. Was that your costume, or did they supply that to you? Or
no, it was supplied. But
supplied.
It was like you can keep your costume, and it was like, oh, of course.
Wow.
I know.
That was quite fortuitous to keep it, to be fair, because I think most actors would just go, wouldn't they, and think nothing of it. I think just move on to the next show, really. So that was great that you kept it.
A few people that we've spoken to have actually thrown their scripts and not kept them, have they? From what I remember.
That's right.
Yeah. Mine was completely, it's just one of those random things when you end up moving house and going through all of your, the boxes that are stashed in your loft, and you kind of go, oh my goodness, look at that. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, I think it was, it wasn't me being clever. I think it was just fluke, quite honestly.
But no, good. Would you not them offering to buy it? Would you consider perhaps donating them to the Fools and Horses fan club, or would you consider selling it? Have you never really thought about it?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
No.
One of the reasons that I kept the scripts is because it's got I've got, especially dates, has got John's original notes on it.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So it's
Special.
actually that thing of it's a little bit of John Sullivan that's kind of personal to me. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It's lovely, right?
Oh, that is good. Yeah, yeah.
Because originally
Um,
you auditioned for a different part, didn't you? And then he was
I
like,
auditioned
"Oh,
for Cassandra.
yeah."
Wow.
I went, no, I mean, yeah. And it was, they looked at me and just went, nah. And John got the script out for dates and he went, but I like you. You're not right for this. And I sat outside, read dates, and it had all of his little notes on it. And I got the job straight away playing Nerys, which he then kind of wrote more. And John gave me the script that he put all his little notes on. It was one of those
that would be.
PR love kind of things, which was really sweet.
Do you wish you'd been, because some of the barmaids were in for quite a few episodes. Do you wish you'd had more episodes in the show,
Of
like in the
course.
bar?
Oh my goodness, I would have. I mean, but the truth was, as I say, I just look. I was a young actress, went for a job, you know, I don't even think Cassandra was even named Cassandra at that point, but for Rodney's girlfriend. As far, I was completely wrong. They saw me as completely wrong for it. John very kindly went, hang on a second, I've got this part in mind for Nerys, and then wrote more for it. Of course, I would love to have been in more. But the truth is, when at the time, I had no idea what this was going to turn into and what it was going to be. And I was just really grateful to be cast in it, to be part of it, to learn from all these great people, and be in that, you know, the first time that Christmas special went out, it was like 25 million viewers. It was just extraordinary, you know? And it's been one of the most repeated episodes ever. So it's like, okay, fab. But of course,
can you remember where you were when it was, you know, when it was broadcast? Were you think, oh, yeah, I was at my mum's watching it, or can you remember what you were doing at the time, or of that day?
I was with my mum and dad. I saw it with them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because it was Christmas, so it was family Christmas. My mum, dad around the telly, you know, oh, they are. And I think it was even a thing with the VHS machine, press record.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah, of course, video recorders, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
and you probably circled it in the Radio Times.
I remember them.
Even the Radio Times, all that kind of thing. Look, I'm in the Radio Times. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember more.
And if they did do another episode, would you be Nerys one last time, do you think? Or
oh my goodness, if anybody asked me, I would be in like a shot. Who would say no? I mean, quite frankly, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'd make the tea. I'd be delighted to be around. It's like, of course, it would be, it would be amazing. But without John, nothing's. I can't see that it could ever happen quite the same way without John, right?
There's a lot of actors that aren't here now, isn't there, from the original show? So, yeah, it would be very difficult. I think we spoke about this before, haven't we, Chris and Emily, how they could do another one. Maybe it would be looking back and then you'd have clips of the older episodes and sort of passing it on. But it would be very, very difficult.
It wouldn't be the same because you won't have Boyce's laugh and you won't have any of that.
Mike at the bar you wouldn't have.
Exactly. Yeah. And dare I say, it was so perfect as it was. And I personally think one of the things that was genius about it was how it ended. I mean, I can't actually think of a more perfect way of ending this legacy of a show. I think that also makes it really difficult. How you've done this great ending, and then it's like, well, you're going to tack another ending on, or you're going to. I don't know. But of course, if they did, yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, great. Good to hear. Have you watched the musical at all?
I haven't actually seen the musical. No.
I haven't.
But I've heard fabulous things.
We spoke to someone from the musical.
It's doing the UK tour now, so you might be able to, might be somewhere where you live near.
Very good. I shall make a point of seeing it then. Yeah. Did you see it, Chris? You obviously enjoyed it.
I loved it. Yeah, I went to Haymarket, Andrée, twice in London. So I'm based in Crewe, so I've booked tickets now to go Hanley next year. So I'm definitely going. But my van that we acted with, my van, if you remember, they had my van there as like a promo for it, which was great as well.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, when they announced the tickets. So I didn't realise, the theatre just said, "Oh, can we hire your van?" I said, "Yes." And then I didn't realise it was for the, announcement of the show being toured UK-wide. So that was great, yeah.
Brilliant.
Well done. That's really excellent.
And thanks, by the way, for doing that last year. Was it last year, the year before? That little cameo we did, if you remember, with the van and did the...
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it was really good, thank you. Yeah, really good.
Oh,
That was
you're
you.
welcome. It's always fun.
That was you reacting as Nerys, wasn't it? That was good. I did enjoy that. That's funny.
Have you ever thought, Andrée, what Nervous Nerys would be doing now?
Oh,
where would she be now, do you think?
I don't know. Do you think she would be running the cafe that her mum owned?
I think she would have had a couple of kids by now, I reckon.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. I should imagine, a few kids. I don't know. I think possibly in that cafe or something. Or yeah. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do you think she would be?
Not sure. Maybe barmaid, maybe owning her own pub now, or
there you go.
Nightclub,
Married,
maybe. Carried on with that.
Get out of my pub. I can imagine her saying that.
Get out my pub. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're in the Queen Vic, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, pub. Yeah.
And what do you think
Damien's
up to now?
Ruling the world, isn't he?
Is he?
Yes.
In an evil way, yeah.
So funny. So funny. So what have you guys got planned for Christmas? Anything fun?
I think I'm going to my grandparents for Christmas. And wearing my Christmas jumpers.
Nice.
Oh, fabulous. Excellent.
One of the best ones, that, Emily. One of the best ones I've seen, that jumper, actually, Christmas one.
I've got to get one, because we're going to do a Christmas podcast.
Yes.
And we did it last time and I let the side down. I didn't have one, so I've got to get one.
Where's it from, Emily?
I got it from eBay, but you can buy them on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. I think about £20, so not too bad.
Excellent. Okay.
Nice and thick.
Okay. I'll put that on my list for Christmas.
There you are.
I did buy the Nag's Head jumper, the one, the black one that you wore in Sickness in Wealth. You can buy them, can't you? I do own one of those. Quite a nice, smart jumper, them. Where you and Kenneth MacDonald wear one, don't you?
Yeah.
In the episode Sickness in Wealth, yeah.
Like the sweatshirts. It's like a sweatshirt. Yeah.
I must admit, when I used to watch Fools and Horses, I missed the point that it was you in both episodes. I don't know if a lot of people know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. You look slightly different. Probably
long gap.
Slightly different character in Sickness and in Wealth, isn't it? I would say than Dates.
I think
you're at the forefront in Dates, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think it was just the idea that she's kind of been at the pub for a while and been there. I think, look, bless John Sullivan, he was just very keen to get me in more episodes. He was like, always another one. I'm like, okay, that's great. But yeah.
Right. Sorry, but we got to go now. We've run out of time. Thanks a lot for coming on again. It's been lovely to speak to you.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Andrée.
You take care. It's lovely to talk to you
guys.
guys.
Nice to see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.